Hello everyone and welcome back to FTB Skies 2. It's Pyramid Day, which means we're going to jump into a lot of different mods. Now most of them we have completed, or semi-completed, but today we're going to be combining them all. We're first going to start with the Realized Transcendence. This is from the Cognition mod, so we just need some nether stars, some cognitive crystals, as well as the fused consciousness. We've made the complete design before when we made our splintered world. Now we just need to throw this into the weeping well. So very simply, anomalous design, sacred spirits. Awesome. And then we just take this guy and throw him inside the weeping well. Ta-da! And what we're going to need is our experience obelisk and our molecular metamorpher setup. So we can actually just place these anywhere in the world. We're just going to stick them here for now. And we just need some XP from our mob farm. Simple shift right click on that, shift right click here. And if we chuck all that in, that only has 90 levels. I grabbed 100. I could have sworn. Well, I'll grab some more. There we go. And that'll start working. And we can just give it a little juice. And there it is. Realized Transcendence done. So I will add that to our little pedestal thing I have going on here. That is one of the items. Already done. And that was obviously the easiest of the 5 we had to do today. But the other ones aren't too bad overall. Now, the next easiest one, arguably, is the strange matter here. We already have all of this stuff. The only thing we need is strange matter. This just simply comes from refining lava atop of a Endirk compound in a refinery. So we're just going to need another refinery, and we already have 2 refinery chambers, so it's perfect. And if we just give this guy some power, we should be good to go. And yeah, it'll start making us strange matter immediately. And I should be able to bucket this directly out. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. Well, I guess I have to wait for it to fill up, that is. But yeah, I should be able to bucket it directly out of this tank here. And there we go. We have a bucket of strange matter. Now, I already had set up a dissolution chamber for this guy specifically. We just never got around to actually using it. Is it just one bucket? Yeah, it's just the one bucket. Perfect. So I already made some extra cursed sap balls way back when. I will say one thing we haven't made is actually pink slime balls, which is arguably an easy fix. I just need to throw a recipe for it in there, and we can make like 10 of them if we wanted to. Now, we should have everything. Oh, we're missing something. Gem dust. Well, luckily we have our apotheosis farm, and that should progress. Wow, 122 seconds. I guess we don't have any add-ons in there. In all fairness to this machine, there's no add-ons. That is still very, very slow. See if we can boost it up a bit. 27, okay. Let's finish you up. And there's our dissolved potential. We'll add it to our shrine over here. And that is another one off the list. Now we're down to 3. Now, 2 of these require create recipe sequences. And then this guy here is the molecular metamorpher. So we'll jump back into this guy real quick. We went ahead and did plutonium last episode. We made the plutonium dust. However, we still need to combine it into pellets. And we're going to use the duradium ingot recipe because there's no reason not to. So we'll go ahead and add that to our system. I only went ahead and made 64 plutonium dust. I definitely could automate the particle accelerator with applied energistics. I just haven't yet. And sitting there manually doing it wasn't worth it. So I'm just going to grab a few levels out of here, and then we can do our craft in the molecular metamorpher again. So 32 pellets. We're going to need a charm of the resonant shield, which is skulk, shield, glass, and white wall. And it's really easy since we've set this guy up so long ago at this point. We haven't actually had the chance to use it in a while. It's like visiting an old friend. All right, there we go. And last but not least, we need an iridescent ether, which is aqueous, prismarine, arcane, and ether. So 2 aqueous and then our ether. And another successful craft, I think. I didn't get the item. Oh, there we go. It was just hiding on the ground. A little bit of invisible entity action. So we'll throw all of these guys in here, and this should work. There we go. It's just going to be really, really slow. So once again, give it a little boost, and we'll put these spirits away while we wait. And that's our ethereal essence. And we're absolutely flying through this pyramid at the moment. But it is thanks to prior setups like Ars Magica, Malum over there in the back corner, Industrial Foregoing behind me. So it's not like these guys are, oh, they're not hard to craft by any means, but they are definitely easier thanks to us having all of these setups done. Now the big one was getting our giant particle accelerator done last episode, so that was an easy one to check off thanks to that. But other than that, these crafts are pretty easy for us. Now probably comes the 2 harder ones, and I only say harder because we need to do 2 different things. We need to get ourselves a ruined book and then set up a recipe sequence. So this means getting into create. And this guy here also requires us to get into create. We need to make portal fluid. So these are the two things we need to make that we don't have current access to. The ruined book comes from the last battle of a fallen kingdom, which also drops us mithril, which will be super useful. So we're going to make one of these guys. So that's some blood runes, the Eye of Monstrous, crimson cloth, as well as the totem of vine dying. The Eye of Monstrous luckily can be crafted. It's not like a mob drop or anything, so we don't have to go fight any mobs necessarily. And we'll just take out some lava and make this guy. So that's very simple. Now the blood runes themselves require blood vials, so we have to do a bit of mob crushing. And we luckily have a zombified piglin spawn egg from killing all those zombie piglin that used to invade our lands. So if we place an alchemist cauldron right above and stick a mob inside of it, he will slowly start giving us blood. And he got out. To be honest, I should have thought of that. There we go. Can you get out? Oh, you still can get out of that. There we go. He should be trapped now. Yes, perfect. So we have our lovely guy here. And with glass bottles, I should be able to just collect some blood vials from him. Just hopefully he doesn't die before we get all the blood vials we need. There we go. So we'll make ourselves a blood rune. And we need 3 of them. Whoops. Okay, we're gonna need another spawn egg. Luckily, we have a zombie willing to donate us blood as well. That's not right. Sorry, buddy. And there we go. Very, very simple. So we can make the crimson cloth now, which requires some red wool. And that is the gateway. So this guy has a few different mobs that spawn from it. I couldn't tell you which one specifically, but there are a few. And honestly, I'm not sure where I want to fight them. I think this occultism area is probably pretty good. Alright, I think fighting them on our area here should be fine. We're probably going to one-shot most of the mobs anyway, so I'm not too concerned. Yeah, we did. Okay. Just the ancient knights that aren't one-shot, and just turn a magnet on so we don't lose any drops. Yeah. No mob is really a match for us at this point of the game. Oh, and we got an ancient knight spawn egg. That's nice. We already have one over in our spawner, but it is nice to have an extra one. Yeah. They don't have much hope in this fight, I'm going to be honest. Surely a better boss comes out of this thing, right? Not just a bunch of ancient knights. Ah, there we go. We got a ancient king. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to swab this guy. And we one-shot him. Oh boy. Poor Ancient King. He tried his best, I will give him that. He did try his best. But that is the ruined book we need. And we also got some mithril from that and some pyrium. And with our newly acquired book, all we need to do is send it through a create contraption with both refined brilliance and mithril weave 20 times. We have plenty of arcane and cinder essence thanks to our mob farm. Liquid chorus, I guess I can make a mechanical squeezer for real quick. I could do bees. Oh, you actually get it from ender bees. I could go collect ender bees to do this. We do have the perfect genes. But for now, I think I'll just stick some chorus in a mechanical squeezer. Oh, and we already have 7 buckets of it. Well, that helps. This was from when we stuck it in our nitro reactors. Now, I will say this was definitely the worst way to go about doing this. You only get 125 versus doing it in a foundry where you get 450 per each one, but it's fine. We can actually take this crystallized chorus and put this directly in a foundry if we wanted to, but that should be enough buckets, potentially. Oh wait, no, it's a bucket per. Never mind. That is not enough buckets. Okay, well, we're just going to set up our foundry real quick. Honestly, did not think I was going to need this guy again. And with a quick bit of lava, this should smelt all the way up for us. Potentially? Yeah, okay, it does work with lava. I also went ahead and made speedier upgrades from Productive Lib, and that'll just get us all the cores we need. We also have a bit extra in here if we need it, but I think this should be enough by all means. Okay, there we go. We only need to do it 20 times. We have 27 buckets of liquid cores. That is fine. A little scuffed to do it that way, but it does work. Now we need refined brilliance and mithril weave. This just comes from brilliant stone, so we'll just chuck a bunch of raw brilliance in here. Easier said than done. Take a stack of that, no issue. And we'll just set up a recipe for mithril scrap. And that should be fine, by all means. Now it is create time. We haven't actually done anything in the create mod besides making some item vaults and redstone links. So we're going to have to go from the beginning, but I should be able to do this all with water wheels. So I'm not too concerned about getting like a proper stress unit set up. And unfortunately, create new age isn't in here, so we can't turn RF into stress units in this pack, so we're going to have to go basic water wheel type beat, but 4 water wheels should be plenty of enough stress for these guys. And then we'll just need some deployers. I was concerned for a second. I almost thought there was no way to make brass, but then I remembered we set up our foundry controller here just 2 seconds ago, and I don't want to be making copper ingots. That's not right. Go back in, good sir. Alright, so the speedier upgrades absolutely eat through lava, so we're just going to add on a exporter for that. And this guy should just make us a bunch of brass. And then when we're ready, something like that should work. Awesome. And it should only accept brass as long as the pipe is filtered. And there we go, we're getting brass ingots. And then unfortunately, for some reason, you can't shift right click to strip a bunch of logs at a time. So we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way of clicking all of them. But we'll just make a bunch of andesite casings. Should be enough. And I'm pretty sure both of these only require 5 deployers max. Yeah, we only need 5 deployers and then 1 spout. We just got to add one for the next recipe. With our lovely forge hammer here, we'll make some forge plates and make some pointy fingers. And then throw some sandpaper in our offhand and polish me some quartz. Like so. Now we're just going to watch some belts. And thankfully we have kelp from our strainers way back when. So we can make a bunch of dried kelp. Oh, there's a blasting upgrade in here. That won't help. So if we make ourselves some belts. Now, where do I want to do this? I think this industrial foregoing area wouldn't be too bad, but so would our area here. I think right on this back wall could work pretty nicely. So if we do some basic water wheel setup like so, actually, you know what? We're going to go even one lower like this. Quick bit of rotational force, and yeah, this should be more than enough. And those are all upside down. I want to go vertically like so. And if we make some copper casings, we can quickly add a spout onto this guy. So a very simple belt like this, and we can actually just use item pipes for this, which is super easy, since you can just filter what you want to put. If we just turn off all of the inputs on this side and set this to the output, like so, and filter it to only take in ruined books, this by all means, once set up, should work perfectly fine. And I just need to put this on a belt, or just put this on rotational power, sorry. And that's backwards, something like that should work. There we go, perfect. Now that is absolutely terribly slow, but we don't mind. We're just going to let this guy run. So we'll do Arcane Essence, or sorry, Cinder Essence, Arcane Essence, Mithril Weave, Refined Brilliance, and then a Bucket of Chorus. And if we just shift right click this, it will automatically go in. And if we place our rune book on the belt, like so, we get 1 press. Oh, you know what? We're actually going to have to take it off the belt here in a second. I thought it would stay as a refined book for some reason. I'm not sure why I thought that. Oh, you know what? We're going to have to remove this one temporarily. There we go. And yeah, we'll have to take it off and add the incomplete Arcanum into it and remove the NBT. Then we can drop it back on top like so, and it will work. Perfect. So we'll come back to this guy and it should be done, and it will just automatically go into a chest. I'm pretty sure this should automatically go into this chest once it's done. I just want to make sure this works. I'm almost positive this should work. But yeah, we'll get sucked back up, go to the back to beginning, and start up again. Awesome. So we'll keep this last deployer for when we need it. But other than that, create is done very, very simply. Now it's slow and it's not the best way to do it, but it is technically done. Now the only thing we need left is the evolutionary matter. Now for some reason, I don't know where all of my overworld predictions went. I might have used them in crafting because our evoker here definitely should have provided us with plenty, but I should be able to get some by just throwing this guy into one of our currently working ones. I'll just chuck the evoker in here and fill it up, and that'll get us what we need. No big deal. Very, very easy. Yeah, that'll be all of that needed. Then we need charged redstone, living flesh, as well as portal fluid. So easiest one, living flesh, just sacred spirits, wicked spirits, and rotten flesh. So we'll just throw a stack of all of that on there. That should be more than enough, I believe. It only needs to go 16 times. So yeah, a stack is actually perfect. Then for the charged redstone crystal, it's very easy. We just throw some in a reaction chamber, and that is redstone, fluix, and glowstone. So we can actually just automate this easily. Oh, we gotta put our auto export on. I was gonna say that's taking a long time, but we simply didn't have auto export on. Easy fix. Our living flesh should be done as well. Perfect. 16 of that. And last but not least, the portal fluid. Now I will assume there is a way to automate this guy. I won't pretend I know how, but I assume there is. But if we drop this into polymorphic fluid, it should transform one bucket into one, and we need polymorphic catalyst in water. So by all means, if I'm not mistaken, oh, we got our refined brilliance, or our elemental arcanite. And also it didn't go directly into this chest. I think I need to put the chest up 1 block, or I need to put a funnel on the back. Could be a funnel. We'll just slap a funnel so we don't lose any items in the future. But yeah, that's our elemental arcanite. I'm glad I went over there. Otherwise, that might have just despawned on me. Nevertheless, that's really simple. Time for portal fluid. I'm going to do it in this room over here because why not? So with water like this around a shadow pulse goo, I assume I can throw this in here, yes, and it will automatically convert. And then we'll throw portal catalyst, and that disappeared. Why did it disappear? Bizarre. So fun fact, the quest book does tell you exactly why. it only works in the end dimension. Now, a very simple read of the quest book, or if you've done just dire things before for portal fluid, you would know it requires to be in the end dimension, I assume. I assume this isn't just a Feed the Beast thing, I assume this is a JDT thing, but this guy requires to be in the end, so we'll just set up this same circle as before, and there we go. So if we put this on bucket mode, oh wait, no, that's not what we want to do. We wanted to convert into portal fluid first. There we go, perfect. Very, very simple. And like I said, there's definitely a way to automate this with a fluid placer of some sort. Oh, I can just drop both in at the same time and it'll do it. That's useful. And we just need to do this 16 times? Yeah, or sorry, we got to do this 4 more times, or 2 more times in this hard case. I can't think today. Not sure why I can't think, but I just can't. And 1 more feed to our friend, and we're good to go. And for what it's worth, I will leave that set up there. It's not that big of a deal. We will attach our last deployer and do this in order. Oh goodness, that's probably not meant to flow out like that. Make sure it's not on bucket mode, place it back down, and then we'll let it auto export. So living flesh, redstone, matter, matter, and matter. And then what did we need to place below this guy? A nitro crystal. Okay, luckily we have plenty of those as well. Throw that on there and let it do its thing. And what does this guy make? An incomplete nitro crystal of sorts, I assume. Luckily we can just clean up our inventory here and wait for this guy to come over. We'll filter it off, and as soon as this guy finishes up, it will be the last thing we need for the pyramid. Or sorry, for the first layer of the pyramid. These first 6 blocks are the first layer, and I actually want to put it atop of our middle tower here. This is our starter island. It's the highest point in our base. It is actually taller than all the other towers by like 1 block, I'm pretty sure. Actually, it might be shorter. Oh, it's actually shorter. Well, we're going to pretend it's not shorter because this is our center island. So I'm going to clear this guy off, and we're going to move all of our drives down below, which means I need to set up a spot for our drives first before I do this. I also set up a little exporter for my backpack here, or an importer technically, and it is inverted and fuzzy. So this is basically a blacklist, and that's so it doesn't take out my infinite ham, my holy locket, or my shield. And if we place our backpack down on top of this, it'll import everything into our system. It's just a nice way to clean out your backpack very, very fast. I don't know why I hadn't set up one before, but what I want to do is be able to store all of these drives into my backpack like so. And I guess we're going to need to move this setup as well. Now hopefully my entire system doesn't break while I do this. Shouldn't take too long. And now after all of that, this guy should be done, and there it is, our evolutionary matter. And as you see, the first layer is complete. So we're going to go in here, claim all of the crystal coins we spent. Well, actually, no, we're still down a lot of crystal coins from doing the big guy over there. But we do have the pyramid base now. And if we go ahead and place this guy down, very cool looking block, I will say. Is this enough room? It should be. Yeah, it's definitely enough room. Just barely, by the way. We're using up the max amount of space up here. All planned. And that is the final block. First layer of the pyramid done. Now I might want to edge the sides a bit, like with maybe framed blocks or something, just so it looks a little nicer up here. But look at that glow in its magnificent glory. That is the first layer of the pyramid done. Now technically speaking, we are closer to finishing the bioneural circuit than we are most of the other things on this list. The Evolutionary Arcanum is a bunch of occultism. These guys here are Pneumatic Craft and Ender IO. We haven't got into either of those mods yet, technically. The Time Prism requires Time Crystals, some more just dire things. And I guess technically we're pretty close to the Ultimate Singularity, other than Cryofluid. This is going to require us to do Modern Industrialization. There is a non-MI recipe, but I'm pretty sure this was only added because people who don't like doing MI complained that MI was necessary for the pack. So the cryofluid is the other option this way. I don't like this recipe. I think it's kind of dumb to do it this way. So we will be jumping into modern industrialization to get the vacuum freezer for this. But yeah, this second layer will not be anytime soon, to say the least. Or it may be sooner than we think. But for now, we're going to end the episode off there with the first layer complete. I do hope you guys enjoyed this little jump into a few different mods, a little touch and go with every other little thing. Hope it wasn't too confusing, and I hope the episode made a little bit of sense, but we do have the first layer done. Next episode, I think I'm going to jump back into occultism to start working on the second layer of the pyramid, but after that, we're going to be going into the modern industrialization grind. And we'll jump into some pneumatic craft and some just dire things along the way, but for now, I will catch you guys in the next one, and I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like on the video. If you don't want to miss any future uploads from me, hit that subscribe button. and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!